somewhat normal, or if they have some other abilities. It is quite a struggle, I understand that. So, from, what we discussed at our previous meeting, I've been looking at some resources that I think might be some help to you. And I would like to share those with you if that's okay with you.
Oh yeah, sure. I'd be open to looking into what's available, because I mean it is tough being a single mom, and it's just me and her. But
Right.
but my boyfriend came along, and I feel like he'd be a really good partner, and he's not opposed to staying in this relationship. But sometimes it gets frustrating for both of us, and I don't know if it's even too he might be a little bit off put because he sees how mad I get, and I don't want that part of myself
It
to
kind of
show.
affects it.
Exactly. How is he going to think of me if I, spank my daughter a little bit too hard because I can't control my own temper?
Okay, I understand. And I think we can work with that. If you're willing, of course, to work along in the process.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to pick up some new skills that would at least, I try counting to 3 and things like that, but sometimes it's just really hard.
Okay, that makes sense. Let me go ahead and show you some of the things I have, and we can work on a plan. I would encourage you to look over these, and I know that your daughter Anna has some special needs, and that's, like you said, related to her cognitive abilities. So she doesn't remember things, and you have to repeat them often. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you've looked at any sort of daycare, any places.
I haven't really, because I'm not sure how she would do around all those other kids. I don't want her to feel different. I'm not sure if she's going to be a little bit delayed, or I don't want the teachers to maybe signal her out, or I don't want the teachers to get frustrated if she can't follow their instructions and things like that. I know she's going to be old enough to go into kindergarten soon, but I haven't really looked into any daycare or anything like that.
Okay. Well, I think I would encourage you to go ahead and start making some calls to a few different daycares, looking at your options. And I think it's good if you start looking at those. And then I do have, or if you could look at a daycare maybe that includes disabilities, if they have a program for that. I don't know if you can look in your area, look around at several daycares, maybe talk with those places. See if any of them have disability programs in their centers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do have 2. I just looked last week and I found 2 that are in your area. And I think that's some really good news.
Okay.
So you can definitely look into those.
Okay.
And then I want to suggest that you look at maybe 2 or 3 more in
Okay.
addition to the 2 I found. And make some phone calls, see what you can find out. And then I think it would be good for Anna to go ahead and get some socialization.
Mm-hmm.
She can pick up those social skills and just learn, repetitively how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be good for her, especially starting education, to go ahead and pick up those skills now, because if she, picks it up later, she's not going to get that repetition.
Mm-hmm.
So that could help her behavior.
Yeah,
And if you go ahead and make those calls,
I could see how a professional might be able to work with her a little bit better, at least maybe help,
Right.
her develop some new skills that I might not know about.
Right, exactly. And if I give you, some free resources as well, maybe like, with your boyfriend, maybe you can talk with him, because you would have that time off while she's at daycare.
Mm-hmm.
And then that might reduce some of that stress and help you balance that relationship.
Yeah, just kind of give
Because
us
you
a
need
break.
time, since Anna's 4, I think it's time for her to get some daycare, get that experience, learn those social skills.
Mm-hmm.
And then that gives you the resources as well. So, she can see, maybe for you to look at her in daycare and see that she's got those normal skills, see if she's on track or not.
Okay.
And
And
then
then-
for developmental, and I see social as well, developmental and social skills, what about language? Is she picking up some words? How's her language?
She does speak, but a lot. I mean, she's pretty good at talking and communicating her thoughts. Sometimes, she'll just make up words, and that can get frustrating. But a lot of times she's pretty good at communicating. It's just that something simple like go put your shoes on and get your jacket, and then I look and she's playing with her toys or something like that. And so I feel like maybe just following instructions and like it's hard because I understand she might not understand what I'm saying, but to me it feels like she's being disrespectful, or she doesn't want to listen to me.
Right.
And so I mean it's hard to differentiate between what's that normal toddler behavior, what's connected to her disabilities, and I think that's where some of the frustration comes from, is because I don't know if it's her just I don't feel like putting my shoes on right now, or maybe she just doesn't remember me telling her to do that a couple minutes ago.
Right. Okay. And a good way to find that out would be to get her into daycare and see if she can, communicate with the teacher for a few weeks, see if she can get involved in those discussions. She may start to understand more. And again, if you're, working with a professional, a teacher, they might be able to help you work on those skills as well, because they'll be more familiar with that.
Okay.
So there's lots of possibilities there.
Okay. So you think like the school would also maybe like give me some tips on how to deal with her, and things like that.
Oh,
and
yes, definitely.
Yeah. Maybe if she was around other kids, she would pick up on how they act and things like that. So maybe that would help.
Right. Exactly. Definitely. Yeah, I think that exposure and getting in that environment can really influence a lot of things. Just being with peers and having the teacher use repetition, just seeing that sort of environment, I think would fit her needs very well. And then she'd be able to see a lot more, see other behaviors, and yeah, I think that would be really great.
Okay.
And then also I had another suggestion here. I think if you get Anna into a daycare, so if you can look at possibly, a few different options, get her in maybe 3 to 4 times a week, find something that fits for you. And then I would like, before I get to that point, let me ask you, you said you're very frustrated. Are you feeling any depression? Anything like that?
I mean, sometimes it does get depressing, because I'm not sure if other parents have as much of a struggle as I do, and then the fact that it's just me and her, it makes it even more hard. But I wouldn't say it was interfering with anything. I would say most of the time, she might do something that makes me upset, and then later on I feel guilty about how angry I got. And so it's more that I'm worried that I'll lose my temper and then maybe hurt her or something like that.
I see. Okay. So I think if you keep coming in, we can do some analysis on that. I think if you can come in, maybe we can work on some skills for lowering that stress. Would you
Okay.
be able to come in a few times a week and work on that?
Yeah, I could probably
And just
come
see
in
how
when
that
she's
might
in
help you?
daycare.
Okay, so we can work on those coping skills. And then if you do some work, research those different daycare options. Next time we can talk about that a little bit more.
Okay, great.
And then I would like you to come in and see me for 12 weeks. Is that something you would be able to do? Does that work for you, or do you think that's too much, too little?
Well, I do have a trip planned next month, so as long as our schedule was still flexible, I could probably work in several
Sure.
sessions. Okay.
Sure, of course. Yeah, if we need to skip a few weeks, you can just let me know.
Okay.
And then when you come back, we can pick up again.
Okay.
If we need to pick up some different dates, whatever works for you, we can do that. That's fine. And then thirdly, I think it'd be good for you to go see a counselor or a therapist. And if you were to go see a client-centered therapist, that person would be able to help you really look at yourself and focus on yourself.
Okay.
How, things you want to work on, how you can do that. And maybe then you'd be able to work with Anna better as well.
Okay.
I think that would, work with your boyfriend as well too. Maybe he would see how you interact with Anna, and then if he's able to see what you're doing with her, he can follow your example, working with discipline and going to daycare. I have this vision that these might be working out really well for you, and I don't know if you can see that same vision. But if you work with a therapist maybe every couple of weeks, a client-centered therapist, approximately every 2 weeks, and see me weekly, we can keep checking in, see how you're doing, do an analysis, and just help see, how that's going, and then getting Anna into some daycare. We can continue working on all those things, and I think those will really work for Anna and for you. What do you think about that? Is there any part of that that you would like to change?
No, that does sound good. I mean, it would be a goal of mine to figure out some new ways to deal with those feelings. I understand, everybody gets frustrated and things like that, but maybe I could just, maybe they can help me find some new ways, and let me know some different techniques, at least in dealing with kids that have those problems.
Right, exactly. And then I also have two, so if we're looking at daycare as one option, we can get a list of daycares, and then once you do pick one and get Anna enrolled, I also want to work on some other goals. Nothing we want to work on right now,
Okay.
but I just want you to start thinking of some other options, so we'll just take it a step at a time. So if you can get Anna into daycare about 4 times a week,
And just give
and if you're
myself a
coming
little
to see
break.
me weekly,
And just take a little break from being there 24/7.
right, exactly. Yes, you need that break, you need the time to breathe, and then come see me for an analysis. And then once that's settled down, I think you can go ahead and go see that other client-centered therapist. And then, like I said, work on yourself, get your self-confidence up, just really focus on yourself for a while. And then once we've got Anna in daycare, you'll have time to start looking at, just taking care of yourself. Maybe, if you need to do a background check, of course that is required. But maybe you want to get involved into daycare.
Okay, yeah,
And
that would
then,
be fun.
working on, that relationship with your boyfriend as well.
Mhm.
And then you may have, a few hours, you can just have time with your boyfriend. You guys can have that alone time together. And then later we'll work on a few other things, but I want to focus on these for now.
Okay.
And you can also check out this website. It's disabilityparenting.net. And that's where you can learn about parents' empowerment. So it's a network for parents. And you can go into there. We have some groups that you can talk with other parents who have children with disabilities.
Okay.
And then if you do, you can look on that website and get involved with some of those groups with other parents. And then there's a mom's meeting twice a week. And they tend to go out different places once or twice a week. And that's something you can look on later. But again, I've got those 3 goals for you now. So looking at daycares, coming to see me weekly, and then finding a client-centered therapist.
Okay.
Just for 10 weeks. So I'd like to focus on those 3 first, and then I've got those other 3 that we'll work on later, so
Okay.
at another meeting. Do you have any feedback? Is there anything you'd like to add?
So would you just recommend maybe making myself a list of some things that I'd like to change? And then I guess the therapist would help me work on those things, and then see how it improves. And then maybe when Anna is in school, maybe she'll also have some behavior improvements as well, so that would be nice.
Right. Yeah, that would be great. So I just want you to focus on these 3 things right now, and we'll work on those over time. Those other 3 I talked about, we will work on those later.
Okay.
But if you could just think about those first 3 for next week.
Okay.
How are you feeling about everything right now?
It seems like it might be a little bit difficult. I'll have to look into where the daycares are and, scheduling and when I'll be able to drop her off and pick her up. But I think if I, just look at my calendar and try and work out the dates, that it should be okay.
Okay, good. So I do have 2 different